Gracious good day, everyone. I'm Jann Arden, and with the Jann Arden podcast, I'm riding solo. I'm riding shotgun today with Caitlin Green, who is freshly off her day doing. What were you doing today, Caitlin Green?
Oh, super exciting day. My husband is actually traveling to New York right now. And so I have been solo hanging with Will. And he decided, of course, as you do when you're a little toddler, that exactly at the moment that dad leaves, he's going to come down with a baby cold. He is also going to wake up at 4 a.m. with a nightmare. And so, yeah, I've been fighting for my life, which is why if you're watching us on YouTube, you're going to see me in a baseball hat, probably looking a bit tired.
I put on a baseball hat to be in solidarity with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That sucks. I just, a friend of mine, I was talking to her on the phone last night, and we were like sort of in the middle of a sentence. Oh, no, we were texting.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, like, she disappeared for a second. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, thank you for that answer. All of a sudden, there's like a 5-minute gap. So I just sort of forgot about it. She's like, my kid is barf fest, like
Oh my God.
projectile vomiting. And so she said, we'll continue this conversation tomorrow because I think when I texted her today, it was like 90 minutes of like a lot of barf, a lot of puking.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever you're texting with someone who has a young child, anything at any time can just completely set your day in a
Mm-hmm.
totally different direction, whether that's illness, whether they fall and bump themselves, whatever it is. Your life and your day is not your own,
Mm-mm.
and even if their mood just changes or they just decide I have to go outside. If I don't go outside right now and you don't take me outside, I'm going to scream bloody murder or demand a TV show. And so you just don't know. You're at the whims of a little ball of emotions. Like today, he watched Bluey this morning because he wasn't feeling great and he requested waffles. So I made him waffles and he got to watch some Bluey. And as he's sitting there, I realized that in this episode, a very heartwarming thing to me is happening. But one of the dogs loses a stuffed bunny and their mom has to find it for them. But Will started crying. I've never seen him cry ever over a show in my life. And he looks over at me and I'm busy making waffles and he's like, Mom, what happened to Bunny? And I'm like, oh, and I look up and I'm like, oh, I think she just lost Bunny. And he's like, where did it go? And starts getting upset. And I had to like stop what I was doing, come over and explain it's just a show, but she's going to get Bunny back. That's the whole moral of the story for this episode. And then I was like, maybe we just shouldn't watch this one. But like, who knows? Your kid could just start crying over a lost bunny on a cartoon show, and that's the half an hour of your life gone.
Oh, God.
I know.
Well, it's hard to see them tap into those emotions, I would imagine. I think it would be so hard being a mom because you're so hooked to your kid, and any pain and peril that they're in is immediately shot into your heart, like directly, intravenously, it's into your heart.
Yeah. And I'm a reactive person. I'm high and low. And my
Yeah, you get
husband is
mad at
kind
me
of,
a lot. Like, so I know that.
I do have a snap gene and I think it comes in handy,
Snap, Gene.
but it comes in handy. Yeah, that happens to me really quickly. I can't help it. And the way my brain works, I just become rapid fire attitude with insults. And if I think something is justifiably going wrong, like if I think something is bad, if I think an injustice is happening, I should say, I do become very activated. So so my husband has to field a lot of the first response stuff because I'm like, I should be your last resort. I'm last resort. And I know that.
Oh, fuck, that's funny. Listen, we all need to count to 10.
Yeah.
We are living in a world. In fact, can I change that number to 100? I'm going to recommend just a 1, 2,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
3. And hopefully by the time you get to 34,
You're
it's
like
going to be a
temperature.
little more manageable.
Yeah.
A little more
Yeah.
manageable. Somebody just phoned my personal cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
a journalist from CTV, asking me for comments about you know what in Alberta.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I hung up. Then a text came through. Sorry to bother you again, but we're looking for Jann. And we're just looking for a comment about the separatism thing. I just blocked the number. And the only reason I'm doing that, they should be going through my office. It's a weekday. Go
Of
through my
course.
office. I mean, but how the hell would they have my cell phone? Like
That's
probably from
weird.
an old call from a long
Yeah.
time ago. Because, during COVID, we were all doing these remote links. And
That.
somewhere in the CTV library, they have neglected to lose my number. Not the end of the world, though.
No.
took quick care of that. But I did. I did count to 100. I'm like, I just said, "May I ask who's calling?" And
Yeah.
CTV News, and then I just hung up. So they never knew that they
They never
had
knew
contacted
why.
me. But they didn't know it was me even that they got.
Yeah, because you
They
don't want
just
to
had a
confirm it.
No, I didn't.
No, no, you don't want to confirm it. And that is like, that is unusual. I mean, it's probably a different set of standards for news, but back when I was doing production stuff, I would have probably tried to reach out to your management first because that's who you're going to give a statement through if you even
Mm-hmm.
decide to give one at all. That's usually what happens. So yeah, that is odd. But I call it save to drafts as well. Like you count to 100,
Save the drafts.
because how many times have you thought of, I'm going to write this scud email or text or something in response to somebody who's gotten under your skin? And I think to myself, I should save this and revisit it tomorrow. I should go watch an episode of Summer House or Bob's Burgers or eat a cookie and then come back to it. And I can still send something, but it usually is a little bit different than my initial seeing the red mist response, which is what happens.
Yeah,
I
the
just
red
can't help it.
room.
It's the way I'm wired.
I Yeah, I mean, tempers are tough, and
Mhm.
having a knee-jerk reaction, it's tough. Like it's very different when you're in the moment with someone physically in the room, but
Mhm.
most of the interactions that we humans are experiencing these days are through texting or phoning, and
Yeah.
so we're constantly responding to emails that you can't really read tone from.
Mhm.
It's not exactly because you'll often have people say, "That's not what I meant." You're reading that
Yeah.
the wrong way. You're reading into that. It's
Mhm.
all those things, but and then essentially things can get like away from you really quickly.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll say to friends too when they get into a back and forth text exchange, maybe with a coworker or a friend or, whoever, I'll say maybe you should just have a phone call too because even that can just be easier and less inclined to have tension if you think there's going to be some miscommunication. But yeah, when I do tend to, like, when the red mist takes over and I lose the battle, it is mostly in person. And it's like
Oh, okay.
I've seen something that I deem to be unacceptable, like, an interaction on a streetcar where someone is being like harassed, or I watched someone once yell at a cashier and they just went completely crazy on this poor cashier at Chopper's Drug Mart. And before I could even think logically, like, I am a small person who cannot fight, I was like in that person's face and I was like, I have to revisit this strategy of mine because
Well,
I'm going to
these
get
days you
punched right in
don't
the
know what
head.
people could do. I mean, there's people in
Exactly.
Calgary. There's people in Calgary, and this was happening in Toronto a while ago too, and in Vancouver that were women getting
Mhm.
randomly punched.
Oh, like in New York City when that was happening.
So it's happening in Calgary. There's been a few just
No.
random punches or like getting roughed up or just being grabbed. It's very weird. I don't
Yeah,
really
because people are
know.
psychotic. People are
Yeah.
truly psychotic. Well, I bought dog spray because I was at the park with Will a few
What does that
times.
entail?
So it's a little like it's like a pepper spray, but it's a legal pepper spray. Now, legal to use like against dogs. You're not supposed to use it against people, right? So I'm not advocating for that. That is very much illegal. However, when I bought it, it was because I was taking Will to a park all the time, and it's not an off-leash dog park, but people use it like an off-leash dog park. And so I'd witnessed a lot of fights between dogs, and I was and the dogs would sometimes, if we were sat on a blanket having snacks, they come over and sniff around, and I started to get uncomfortable with Will around these dogs who weren't on leashes. So I
Yeah.
bought the spray in case something ever happened and a dog bit Will or became aggressive. And anyway, so I bought it. But then I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to leave it in my bag because shrug, like, I don't know, like, people be crazy. And I don't know what's happening. If we live in a world where someone's randomly getting punched in the head, that happened to Rick Moranis in New York City. Someone just walked up and cold cocked him.
I think I remember that. That was years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's because that was when these random assaults were happening in New York and they had gotten bad. But because Rick Moranis is so beloved by everyone, the internet went crazy. They were like, you've gone too far if you're punching Rick Moranis in the head. And they were trying to track down who did it, and the internet
Well,
sleuths
isn't
got
there
sleuthing.
cameras everywhere?
Yeah,
Like
I
on
think
every
so.
corner? Somebody
Hmm.
told me that in Toronto you walk by 180 cameras a day.
Oh, I bet. And I think in, London and in other cities it's even more because they have, legal CCTV run by their police
Hmm.
everywhere. I can't speak to how well that's done in reducing crime, but I bet you it has a decent outcome for finding people who commit crimes. Like, I don't know if it's preventative, but in terms of identifying criminals, I
When you
think it's
think
pretty
about
good.
AI, like how is that
Oh,
going to affect what's real,
yeah.
what's not real? You can see, you know, Sarah Burke getting into a Lamborghini and driving off, and it wasn't her at all, but it's her, clearly her head, and she's getting into the car and she's driving off.
Did you hear? So this
Um,
happens every year on the topic of AI around the Met Gala. That usually the last 2 years, as AI has gotten better and better, someone will create an AI of a celebrity in a Met Gala themed outfit, and they'll release it on the internet the day of the Met Gala and say, "Oh my God!" And this year was Katy Perry, and they were saying, "Oh my God, Katy Perry looks amazing at the Met Gala. Her outfit is perfect," and everyone fell for it. And her AI was basically getting nominated for Best Dressed.
and it wasn't her.
It wasn't even her. And now the conversation around AI has been that perhaps people like celebrities won't even go to red carpet events anymore. They won't even go to the Met Gala. They will pay to have a copyrighted AI created of themselves, and they will just send their AI. They will just send an AI to go do it, and then it'll appear on the internet. And then what's the difference if they're really
Like
there or
just
not?
send pictures in?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I'm going to start doing that.
See,
Not that I ever go to red carpets.
but like you
Um,
could.
I don't like red carpets. I don't like any of that stuff. It's just so nerve-wracking, and I don't like posing. I don't even see how people could like that stuff. I don't see what's enjoyable about it. And the poses are ridiculous when you see it in real time, when you are standing there, either in the galley or by the photographers, or when you're actually part of it. I just
Mm-hmm.
stand there like a lump. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
me too.
Jan, I don't do anything. I don't, but the legs cross, the way the arm is, the way they cut the line off on their waist. They go to great lengths to have the way they hold their heads. Like it is an art form, but it
Mm-hmm.
just the way the legs are positioned and stuff. It's crazy town. It's crazy
Yeah,
town, and they look fucking
it's
crazy.
it's the skill sort of that they've honed around being looked at. Like it's the art of like being looked at, and they've been
Well,
looked
it's
at.
crazy.
It is crazy because then the other thing too I remember was that a former co-host of mine once was talking about how Ariana Grande had a side that that's the side that her one dimple is on, and that's the only side she ever wants to be shot from, and that's her requirement. And lots of people talk about having, a good side, and it's not something that I've ever looked at myself enough to know anything about. But yeah, it is a weird space to inhabit mentally, I would assume, because it's
Oh,
like you do look crazy when you see people on the Met Gala steps. Like they look nuts.
well, it's part of the business, I guess, when you are in the entertainment business. I mean, that ship
Hmm.
has sailed for me, but I guess with young people coming up, but I know Streisand, there's classic, maybe they're urban myth stories of
Hmm.
um, she traveled with a nail technician, that she had a mall underneath her house where they changed out products all the time so that she could go down and shop instead
Oh,
of like going
what?
out. Like I've heard that story 50 times over the years.
Oh, I've never
She
heard
will
these.
only be on one side. Like any interview you ever see Streisand on, I believe it is her left side, that
Oh.
she always is on the set. You'll see her in every interview, every single interview. So if you start going through the photographs, it's
Hmm.
weird because she's
Where did
so fussy about that.
I forget where I heard this, but someone once said that if you want to decide what your quote unquote good side is, you default to the side of your face where your nostril is slightly bigger. And I'd never heard that before. And now both Jan and I are tilting our heads up, and everyone's probably going to see up our nose if
Well,
you're
I
watching
just
on
have
YouTube.
snot in my nose. Um,
But I've never thought about
oh, your
it much, but
nostril is bigger.
it is a weird, yeah, being famous would be very, very strange because everyone now has to think about how they look so much more because your photos and your videos and everything, even if you're just a regular person, they live on your phone for so long and they live on people's social platforms for so long. Like it is odd. Maybe we'll all just create an AI for ourselves and send our AIs to go do our work.
Well, still strange. In other news, keeping in line with celebrities,
Mhm.
Donald Trump called Bruce Springsteen a dried up old prune with atrophied skin. And I'm thinking, Donald, have you seen your neck?
Oh my
Like you literally
gosh.
have a bum hanging off of your neck. I mean, I'm not one to talk about necks, but um, it was so bizarre.
That's why does
Um,
he I mean, I guess he just really doesn't have much else to say about things. Like he just sort of like comments on looks because it's like the first thing he processes about anyone. But you're
Well,
right. Like,
yeah, he just called Trump an unfit president during his show in Manchester, England.
oh, okay.
He claimed that he runs a rogue government, which is corrupt, incompetent, treasonous. Trump quickly responded on his social truth media platform. He called him highly overrated, a dried
Oh,
out prune of a rocker.
oh,
Uh, he goes to foreign countries to speak badly about the President of the United States. I never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics. And importantly, he's not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden.
oh.
Um, he went on to say the singer is dumb as a rock before Springsteen reinforced his opinion at another show after
Yeah.
hearing the president's comments. Um, I just, I don't know.
I mean, I love Bruce Springsteen. I always have.
And he said that Taylor Swift isn't hot anymore because of
Oh, yeah.
the views that she's had about Trump, and that she has no fans anymore, and that her career is basically
What was
void.
his though? The way he caps locked it, he was like, "Has anyone noticed that she's not hot?" And the word "hot" was like all caps. And he's like, "Has anyone noticed that she's not hot anymore since she started something or other?" I don't even know what he was talking. I don't pay attention to the latest diatribe that he has against a celebrity who, like, who cares? I don't know. Like, does anyone like? I mean, I guess some people who, I guess some people care, but like, I don't know. I just can't imagine being the president of the United States again and being worried about what musicians thought, but he does seem that vain that he like really cares when people say they don't like him. And he does so many polarizing things that I'm like, aren't you immune to this by now? Like, why would you even? Anyways, I mean, and I think Bruce Springsteen looks great. Isn't he like widely known as being like someone who's aged incredibly well, and Taylor Swift is just beautiful forever? So I don't know.
I can't comment about what he says about Taylor Swift. It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. She's
I don't
gorgeous.
understand it at all. I think it's just that she came out to support the Democrats in the election and stuff like that. But holy Christ,
It is.
it just
It's the weirdest timeline to ever live in when you see stuff like that happening. And yeah, I mean, the man's. I think his makeup artist truly despises him. I think whoever is doing Trump's makeup actually hates him because they never blend his foundation into his neck. Like it's always like a full cut
is it self
orange
tanner?
line.
Is it self tanning stuff?
It's got to be a combination of, spray tan and self tanner, but it really is just this orange sort of not matched foundation that is like it doesn't blend. And you can there's a beauty blender for that. So I don't know, don't talk about how people look if you have a different colored face from your neck. I don't.
I love the word atrophied neck. Like I just thought that was so classic. Bruce looks so friggin' great. He's 75. I mean, he
Yeah,
sings better than ever. He's just an
I mean, to go
amazing.
on a Bruce Springsteen tangent of my own, I went to go see him play at Giant Stadium. I think it was probably what, the year 2000 and I don't know, probably was like 2007, maybe 2006, 7. And it was when Clarence was still the saxophone player with him. He was still alive.
Mm.
And I saw him, and it was his final night of his tour. He was closing out his shows in Giant Stadium in Jersey. It was his hometown. And the
How
I somehow
fun.
oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And we somehow scored floor seats on Ticketmaster. Like this was back when there weren't bots and it was still a better time to buy concert tickets. And they weren't cheap, but they weren't an arm and a leg. Like you weren't paying what you paid now. And
60
so
bucks?
no, I think floor seats then were like, I mean, it's probably $200 or like
Oh,
$300,
okay, but
right?
still, they weren't $2,500.
No, exactly. And we went, and it was honestly, the guy put on such a show. He performed for almost 4 hours.
Yeah,
He took
and it's all hits.
all hits, and he would take requests via Bristol boards that fans were holding up, and he would pluck one out of the audience and then play it, and the band is having a blast, and they just loved him. They loved the fans. They were so tight musically, and it was a beautiful summer night, and people tailgated beforehand like it was a football game. Like when you walked through the parking lot, people had giant slab cakes, like grocery store slab cakes with airbrushed pictures of Bruce Springsteen on them, and they're going around to each other's cars sharing cake, and people are having beer or wine or just pop. There's all ages. Like I just was like, man, you can't, like, if he thinks that Bruce Springsteen has radical left politics, I'm like, you got to take a little scan of his crowd, because it is a real mixed bag.
Blue collar,
Everything. It's
worker. It's
everyone.
it's it's everything. And I don't think there's a political affiliation, but I think what they do agree upon is the character of a person
Mhm.
that isn't great. And even the people that elected Trump now, so many of them are just like, what have we done? But I guess
Yeah.
buyer's remorse. It's we've only
But
got what?
it was a great show. This guy is not like, he's no dried up old prune. I was like, he
Oh,
sang his butt
he's
off on
amazing.
stage.
He's out there with his jeans, and he
Yeah.
just looks so great. And Bruce has battled so much depression and stuff too. I worry about him
Hmm.
dealing with this kind of vitriol on someone who is sensitive and who is an
Yeah.
empath
Hmm.
and who makes no bones about it. He's been very, very open about periods in his life that have been absolutely black holes.
I know.
And it, I hope he stands up to it. I hope he's surrounded by people, because it's very hard. Like, thank God,
Yeah.
I'm the kind. It just doesn't bother me. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me. I don't look at it. I don't. But yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Well,
It's
oh, but wait. Oh, Taylor Swift, though. Speaking of Taylor Swift,
okay.
who is still hot to me. She okay, because
Very.
if you a little brief synopsis here, she famously is re-recording all of her albums because Scooter Braun bought the rights for her music out from under her. This was sort
Yeah.
of how it's been presented. So she has now got a Taylor's version of all of her albums, and this is to prevent him from making all this money off of her work. So everyone's been waiting for the Reputation, the Taylor's version of Reputation, that album, to come out. And now it turns out that she's going to be releasing it because she released the Taylor's version of Look What You Made Me Do on the very first episode of the recent season of Handmaid's Tale. So the song
Oh.
debuts at the beginning of episode 9. And in the scene, you see the handmaids walking in formation to stage, part of an uprising, which is led by June, played by Elizabeth Moss, against the commanders. And so they said that this had been in the works for a long time, and they were so excited. The showrunners had been wanting to use a Taylor song for many years, and they finally found the perfect spot for a track from her. And they're saying they're so happy they waited because there could not be a more perfect song for a more perfect moment. And it's pretty cool. And also, because you know how Taylor Swift has all these little things that happen, and red is this big, the number 13, but also the color red for her. So
Yeah.
I just think that with the Handmaid's Tale red outfits that they all wear, it really does work. I love it.
Well, I just watched the whole series. Once again, on one of our Patreon episodes, I was talking about The Last of Us, wondering if it was indeed the
Mhm.
finale that I was watching. I don't
Mhm.
think it is. So I just watched the most recent Handmaid's Tale. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And, it's going to be a great moment. I have not seen an episode 9. You're saying it's episode 9
Yeah,
of
so they
Handmaid's
said that
Tale?
this is delete. Let me scroll back here. This song debuts at the beginning of episode 9. Yeah. And
Okay, so I'm not seeing. I did not see the last episode yet
okay.
of Handmaid's Tale. I think it's still going. I think I just saw
Yeah.
episode 8.
Yeah. So
So
the showrunner described this as being like they're in the final episodes of the show. And
okay.
and
No, I
they
was
said
just
that's
worried that what I saw was like a really fucking crazy weird ending of the Handmaid's Tale that didn't make any
no.
sense. So
No.
you don't know how many episodes people are doing anymore.
It's
I'm like,
true.
holy shit! If that's the end, I give
Mhm.
up entirely.
You know what is
Um,
something that reality TV does that I wish regular television would do, and I think would be a cool way to engage with the audience? So, reality TV at the end of a season, they do very often reunions where the cast get back together and they have a chance to revisit things from the show while they were shooting. And obviously, it's reality TV, so it's a lot of drama and it's a lot of follow up of who's still together, who's fighting, who's getting along, blah, blah, blah. But I think that there would be a real value to doing a reunion at the end of a season of even a scripted show where all the actors can sit down and talk about the story and where their character is heading, their favorite episodes, their favorite moments. I think it would be really a cool way to engage with audiences, because everybody wants to know so much more about their favorite shows, especially if they're coming in for another season. It's like, where's the story going? Who directed what episode? Because there's so many behind the scenes things about shows that like you don't really get to be a part of unless you go looking for it. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know where to find stuff anymore. Like I get so
Yeah.
confused as, did I see that on Prime? Was I watching it on Crave? Was this on Netflix, BritBox, Acorn, Disney? Uh, I've got all of them. I must have
Mhm.
10 entertainment apps.
Yeah.
Like, do you and Kyle do a lot of them, or is it just sort
We
of, do you have a couple of main ones?
we have a couple main ones. We do a lot of like sharing with other friends. Like you take this one, then we'll take that one, because it drives me nuts to have to constantly have all these different platforms. And the rights change all the time. So the reason I have one they might lose the two shows that I care about. And then all of a sudden, like recently, two shows I liked was like, oh, now they're on Paramount Plus. I was like, where the heck do I even find that? And so it's different in Canada too. So yeah, we have a few main ones, but I mean, I'm not shy to buy a season of a show either on
No,
Apple
me neither.
TV.
I'll go on Apple TV, exactly right. And
Hmm.
sometimes those episodes are $1.99 a piece, two
Yeah,
ninety nine a piece.
exactly.
So if you want to do a one-off and you're not saddled with 13, 14,
Hmm.
15 bucks every month, I
Hmm.
highly recommend that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
What did I just buy on there? I just bought a season of something. I'll have to go check my Apple TV. I was on the plane and I was being very impulsive, and I'm like, ooh, when I land and get some Wi-Fi, I'm going to download these and watch them on the
Yeah.
plane. What the hell was that? I don't know. Something I missed.
Sometimes, and I think too, like, you never know where shows are going to wind up, especially if they're already completed shows. Like, you never know who's going to have the rights to Mad Men or who's going to have the rights to Sopranos in 10 years. So I know those are two shows that I'm going to watch forever. So I would just rather buy Mad Men or buy The Sopranos and just like have it on my account forever, because I don't, it's like you said, then you'll be somewhere where you don't have Wi-Fi, or I'll be on a plane, or I'll be somewhere, we've rented a house or whatever. And I just want to be able to watch those shows. I like it.
Um, in a completely different topic,
Hmm.
do you know anything about the weird clip going around of JD Vance meeting Pope Leo?
No, what happened now? Don't go meet another pope. He's going to kill
I,
him.
but this is on the Huffington Post, so it's not some
Okay.
kind of rando, the London Sun or the Mirror.
Okay.
So the internet thinks that Pope Leo appeared to give Vice President JD Vance the cold shoulder Sunday after his inaugural mass in Rome, and social media users are reeling over the questionable moment. The Catholic convert
Mm.
was one of the last officials to meet with Leo's predecessor, Pope Francis, who frequently
Hmm.
criticized the Trump administration, yada yada. Vance's meeting, no, we'll go there. So in a clip shared on TikTok, he showed Vance's Sunday interaction with Leo. Vance can be seen approaching the head of the Catholic Church with his wife, Usha.
Hmm. Hmm.
The couple shakes hands with Leo while having a brief conversation. Naturally, TikTok users had a lot to say about the Pope's body language during the seemingly strained moment.
Huh.
Stained, with many taking guesses on how the Chicago born pontiff felt in the moment. They're trying to get lip readers in on this action to see if they can actually see what the exchange was. He does not
Okay.
like Vance. Body language is everything. Wow, one person exclaimed. The shrug by the
Interesting.
Pope in the end was to ward off evil.
Oh,
Like, it's so funny. This is the internet, right?
well, so
Anyway,
I just pulled it up.
okay,
Oh, I just pulled it up and it seems, I don't know, it seems very
benign, right?
to me. And then afterwards he goes into a meeting with Marco. Immediately following, he looks like he meets, oh no, that's not him. I don't know who that is. Okay. It's someone who I immediately thought looked like Marco Rubio. Maybe it is him. But yeah, I mean, he's chatting with people. He's meeting a ton of people because it's his inaugural mass. And I think the hope is on the part of the Republicans and of Catholics in the US that JD Vance is going to be some sort of like ace in the hole for them, because with the Pope specifically, because he's very Catholic. He became Catholic like later in life. He was like
Yes.
baptized as an adult, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think people were really, and because he met with the late Pope, and then the Pope passed shortly thereafter, there was this kind of like dark joke that JD Vance had killed the Pope. And so
That was so dark. I heard that going around.
yeah, so I mean, like, okay, so like the dark humor, fine. So I think that people were really like the internet and the funny dark humor of the internet was really looking with a spyglass at this interaction. I just watched it; it looked kind of normal to me. I'm no Catholic expert, so
I can't
if
believe you're telling me that now because it's why I hired you
you're gonna have to
in the
rethink
first
this
place.
hire.
Oh yeah, Kathleen. Yeah, Caitlin Green. She's a Catholic expert.
I mean, I was baptized, but I didn't get my first communion, so I think I have to go to like purgatory or something. But
I've
um,
never been baptized. I don't know what's going to happen to me.
yeah, they're just gonna give you a big hug, and probably it'll all be fine.
Oh, thank you. I'll get a big
But
hug when I get up
yeah,
there.
so I don't know. It looked normal to me, but yeah, like everyone is scrutinized. He is JD Vance when he goes places is being scrutinized for sure. And I always just feel bad, but I can't stop myself. It just looks like he's wearing eyeliner a lot, and
So
I don't know
tell
if he
me,
is.
okay.
I don't know if he is.
There's
Like
an actor
sometimes,
on the morning show,
yeah,
an actor on the morning show that was one of the news anchors. He looked like he was wearing eyeliner.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
You know what I mean? He's a very handsome, dark-haired man,
Yeah,
and he was having an affair with a. I love that show. I love the morning show. I don't know if they're going to do another season, but
me
yeah,
too.
he clearly had eyeliner on, and
Yeah,
that's
so
fine. If men want to, what you guys want to wear makeup, go for it.
yeah, I can't. I am now for some reason transfixed at the premise that he is secretly wearing guy liner, and
Guy liner.
I need to know. Like I don't know why, but I like
Oh
need to
my
know if
god.
he's doing it or not. I don't know. It like it tickles me in some way to think that he gets up in the morning and puts on eyeliner. Like I just enjoy thinking that. I don't know why. So,
Just
yeah, exactly. Is he putting it on the waterline or is he putting it at
what
his lash line?
it looks like waterline.
It does look like
It
waterline.
yeah,
And
it
I'm like,
looks like
what?
waterline.
And what brand is it? Who buys it? Does his wife buy it or does he have a makeup artist? Like cuz I don't think he's not wearing an excessive amount of other makeup. And why does he think he needs to do it? I just have so many questions about it.
JD Vance, if you are listening to this podcast,
I'm
we
not going
would
to ask you
love to have
anything
you on.
else.
We have some questions that we'd like to ask you. It's so funny whenever you talk about anything happening to Trump, God forbid, and or just the myriad scenarios that are out there
Mhm.
that would put JD Vance in the position of the president of the United States. People are
Mhm.
like across the board, that's way more frightening than thinking about Trump being where he is. Like JD Vance is way more frightening
I don't
for
know.
his.
Yeah. Oh, it's all very odd. I'll tell you, every piece of news, every headline I feel that I read these days does deeply frighten me. And it's not just political. Like I read the other day that France is claiming they're going to have a robot army by 2040.
Okay, France is
Mhm.
claiming that they're going to have a robot army
Yep.
by 2040.
Yeah.
So, are we talking drones, like hundreds of thousands of drone type things, or little tanks, or like are they talking like robot-y, like Star Warsy type guys?
I think it's that one because drones are
Right?
already here.
Yeah, they're
So
big time
they
in
said
war.
Yeah, so they said that they're aiming to have their robot army ready by 2040 with some combat ready systems potentially deployed even earlier. And they're talking about robo units that they could deploy for a range of tasks from surveillance and then they're saying remote repair work cuz a lot of working in the army is like repairing things, it's like fixing stuff that has broken.
Okay. Hmm.
But the corresponding images as you can imagine are really out of Black Mirror because it's people writing about this and then using examples of prototypes that the army's working on and they're like creepy walking robots holding guns like it's wild. This is France. I was thinking to myself, if France of all places is claiming they're going to have a robot army by 2040, then would you not assume that the US already has one? Like wouldn't you think that a military country like the US then probably already has legions of robot armies?
You will live to see
Mhm.
a lot more stuff than me if
Yeah.
nature works the way it's supposed to. So, you in the next 40 or 50 years of your life are going to see changes that are going to blow your mind, because you're going to
Yeah.
be saying, back in the day, I remember when we used to do the podcast, we actually needed a computer.
Yeah.
Instead of now, we use the ethereal screen, which just
Yeah. Oh, that's actually
appears
kind of a nice name.
wherever. The ethereal screen.
Yeah,
I
that
got
actually sounds
dibs.
nice. Okay. That sounds
But
like it's not
literally
going to
something
murder
that
me. So,
that you just say, I want it to appear in this room or in my bedroom, and it's just a
hmm
screen that's in midair,
yeah.
powered by something in your head. Who knows? I
I
have no
I
idea.
would love it if the future of tech didn't result in, a robot standing over my body one day. But I just look at who's in charge, and like you look over at Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, and I just think to myself, Sergey Brin, you can't. I don't feel comfortable putting the future of everything into the hands of these like technocrats. It doesn't feel
A
as though it's going to
technocrat.
end well.
Is that a new word?
Is it? Yeah, it must be. I've
Technocrat.
read it somewhere. So I don't know. I actually just picked up, if anyone's interested in this type of thinking, a book called Abundance, which is by one of my very favorite writers and podcasters, Ezra Klein. And he tries to take a more positive futurist approach about all of the amazing things that technology, if wielded correctly, could do to improve life on Earth. And I have been reading it, and gosh, I hope that someone is listening to him and people like him, because he makes a really great case for technology being a good thing instead of horrifying me with a robot army.
I
Yeah, so
think
it's
there's
called
lots of good
Abundance.
things about it too. Like, I literally picture microscopic things going through a body and fighting cancer.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
picture
want.
them being able to be programmed, and people having IVs of sending in these armies of little things that go in and literally take out they can identify every cancer cell
Mhm.
and zap them and take them out. Like, I think AI is going to be um, really the hope of tackling all these terminally dangerous diseases. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like the way they can identify it, scan it, find it,
Mhm.
just things that people can't do.
Yeah, and I
But
mean,
it's got to work in tandem. Who knows? But
well, that's
good
the
for
part.
him.
Yeah, that's the part that, and I appreciate that he's very interested in this. So he studies a lot of it, and he talks to a lot of interesting experts in this field. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes, because generative AI is the type of thing that we can't possibly predict what the future is going to look like now that it is in play. Like, I don't know what
Mm-mm.
I can prepare Will for. I don't know if he's going to be learning from robots. Like, I don't even know what is going to be expected from kids on an education level now that they are just increasingly handing in papers that they aren't even writing. Like, I don't even know how you hedge against these types of things. Like, it's what are they going to need to learn? Like, do they need to learn how to write like with handwriting anymore? I don't know what this is going to look
They
like.
say they're not being taught cursive in schools.
It's just
Like, they
printing.
say a lot of these people, a lot of young people can hardly write. They don't do cursive. They don't know how to, connect the dots. They print. They print.
Yeah. And that doesn't feel great, but at the same time, I want to be open to the idea that maybe they should be doing other stuff, because there's only so many hours in the day, so maybe they should be learning something else that they're going to use more often. I don't know. I want to try to stay flexible and not go full doom and gloom, as I am naturally
I'm
inclined to
not. I'm
do.
not doom and gloom about it. I really feel very optimistic about it. I know that technology has made a huge difference in my life, just the way I go about doing
Mhm.
things. I mean, when I
Mhm.
think about people with children with type 1 diabetes that are 8, 9
Yeah.
years old, and they have things that are literally
Mhm.
ports in their arms or their sides, and how they can manage and have really normal, active, fun lives and eat things and be with their friends and do sleepovers, because they've
Mhm.
got this thing and they've got their phones and they're working in tandem, something that testing your blood could never do. If you tested it every 15 minutes, it still wouldn't be, where this technology has gone. So just the stuff they're doing now. I know,
Mhm.
obviously, you think about war, you think about the technology of war, but
That one
anything is
scares me.
better for me than Agent Orange and gassing people and poisoning entire populations and wiping out every
Mhm.
animal and everything within a 100-kilometer radius. Like, war has been so ugly historically, and maybe technology will make it a fairer playing field where there is way less casualty when they're actually going after infrastructure, when they can actually look at a building and go, you know what, there's 14 civilians in there. We're not attacking that, or we can blow up the thing next to it. That they mitigate Gaza.
Yeah,
That they
you
can
hope that happens.
that this kind of broad bombing, this kind of blanketed torture will end. And
Just
now we see, and I'd be remiss not to bring this up, is that there's a lot of sanctions going up against Israel now.
oh, because
And
you know what's in
it should have
I
happened a long time ago, but the UK is stepping up. Canada is stepping up. I
mhm.
forget who else is involved, but they're actually going, you know what? Enough.
Well, yeah, I have been more closely following some of the humanitarian attempts to get aid into Gaza right
Mhm.
now. But I hadn't been following the back and forth of all the politicking because it has felt pointless to me because nothing,
Mm.
no matter how loud anyone screams about like they need aid, you have to figure out how to reduce civilian casualties. Like just nothing is to my view, nothing seems to be able to get through to Benjamin Netanyahu. So I just haven't been following it because it honestly was making me depressed. So that's interesting to hear. I will Google that.
Yeah, no, there's sanctions that are coming up. I think they're imminent. They may not be active as we're having this conversation, but it was very interesting to see the shift in government policy. And it's hard. There's obviously terrifying things on both sides of this fence, and it has been a thousands of years that
Oh man.
Muslims and Jewish people have fought, and there's so much misunderstandings. It's so complex. I certainly can't sit here and even begin to understand the complexities of that region. But I
No.
think all of us can agree that even when terrible things are done, when someone initially does the first terrible thing that is
Mm.
unthinkable, and I just I cried that day that the kids were at the concerts outside. I mean, I
Oh
just
God.
I
Yeah.
I hardly even like to think about it. And then obviously people have the right to protect themselves and defend themselves about
It's a
what has
mess. Like
happened.
it's just and I
But
that's why I
this
always
last year, it is we all know a 5-year-old can tell you, okay, that's too much now. Like, and the children, the casualties, the
when you're a parent too, like, and that's another thing that's changed for me. I think there was an amount of like brain turn off I could previously do when I felt like, okay, I can't do anything about this. I'm just watching it and getting disturbed every day.
Mhm.
But then when there's kids involved now, I just am like, oh God, like I don't really, and on both sides, it's like I don't care about anything else. I just get so sick of seeing what seems to be the through line, which is a bunch of male leaders, whether that be politicians or military leaders, putting kids into a meat grinder, whether they send them off to war or they attack them. That's the part that just, I can't like you on both sides, you can't get behind it. Also why I'm like, can we get a couple more, not I'm not saying all women are great. We got some problems. But like because we sort of are the ones who are like building people for the most part, I just think there's a different relationship to human life that naturally happens. And just we're very different. So I'm like, can we get just a couple more gals out there in the military and in world politics because I would love to see some sort of reflection of like the care it takes to make a human in
Mm.
political decisions and in military
Mhm.
decisions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. And then you also have the argument where you have same biological female people that are bringing up um, their sons to hate and to become martyrs and to strap bombs onto themselves. Like it really is a cultural phenomenon of what human beings, mothers and fathers, are choosing to teach their children.
100%. I just am like I feel like women haven't had our day in the
Oh, we
sun yet.
haven't.
I'd
We
like to just
did.
see I'm like it can't be
That
worse.
No, I don't think it could be worse. I think thousands and thousands of years ago, women were running things, and then that
Yeah.
history just became erased. And a lot of those amazing female warriors, like there was a lot of female warrior army
Mhm.
people, but I don't know. It's a weird, it's weird out there, and
Maybe
it's
it'll be an
scary.
AI. Maybe it'll be AI leaders.
God, see, this is where that blows
Sorry.
my mind. I know, but when you think about those decisions being made, those critical
Mhm.
decisions being made by a machine heated by billions of gallons of water, like they have
Mhm.
to figure all this out too, because they are an environmental, all
Yeah.
these computers running AI, it's an environmental disaster. And people need to know that every time you use AI or ask it to make you a funny drawing and stuff, there's definitely another side of this, as far as the climate crisis and all that stuff.
It all makes me feel
It's
like my eyeballs are going to fall out.
horrible.
Yeah. Well, I just think back to, like, I think you've probably seen the stories that go around, but like every once in a while there'd be a small town that elects a dog as a mayor or something kind of like random like that.
Yes.
And I just thought to myself, when AI got started, we already live in a place where even if it's just as a joke, a small town will elect a golden retriever to be their mayor. So I don't feel like it's out of the question
But
that
people
we
are
have.
kind of doing that, like, see, doesn't matter who you vote for. It's like,
Yes, but like,
a dog is doing just as good of a job as Mr. Barnsley was or whoever.
Mr.
Before we
Bar.
say goodbye to everybody, tell me what you're doing these days just to have fun and making yourself feel good, because
Oh,
we
I
have
love this
been skipping
question.
that lately.
We have. Where am I getting my serotonin boost?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to see a comedy show this week. I'm going to a stand-up comedy night with one of my best friends. She and I are kind of huge stand-up fans. So I go to see that. I love comedy. Like, I just love laughing. I listen to, if you haven't listened to the episode of Amy Poehler's new podcast, Good Hang with Martin Short or Tina Fey, those are two
Okay.
episodes. I was listening to the Martin Short episode for the second time last night while I was cleaning up the kitchen.
Laughing?
And oh my God, out loud. He described Paul Schaefer, and I won't butcher this, but
Yeah.
you guys just wait till if you listen to the episode when he gives a physical descriptor of Paul Schaefer, that I just about spat out my water. It is so funny. He is so funny. So I've been really enjoying that. And yeah, I just like to have lulls, and it's a lot of podcasts that make me laugh. And I like reality TV, and so I do watch that as well.
Well, I mean, it's important. We have to find something every day to bring us joy.
Hmm.
I'm doing a lot of things. I love, like, just going, like yesterday I went and saw my pal Lisa. She's going through
Hmm.
cancer right now, but we had a really great visit. She wasn't feeling
Oh,
great.
good.
But
Yeah.
it's funny, I left there and I thought to myself, she's lifted me up more than I think I've lifted her up. She was so optimistic and she made me feel so good. Like, she's so positive right now, and she has so many great philosophies and she has so much wisdom bubbling up
Mm,
out of that 57-year-old body
hmm.
that a lot of cancer people talk about how it changes their lives.
Hmm.
So I think taking time for friends is still very, very high on my list. Exactly what you're doing, touching base, whether it's a phone call, whether it is texting for 20 minutes until their kid barfs, or, you know, and I also make sure when there's a bit of sun outside, I get out there
Yeah.
and I get my 15 minutes and I have my ball cap off. And I just love, just checking the yard out or taking the dog out into the yard. Just being outside. You don't have to have a purpose. You don't have to be going
Hmm.
out to do anything.
Hmm.
Sometimes just finding a chair and getting some sunshine,
Yep.
especially those of us that, may live downtown, like you're on the 10th floor and you don't go out on your balcony very often. And where you
Hmm.
are, the sun doesn't really hit there until you get home from work. And there's so many things, but make sure you get out and do something every day. This is my new challenge for all of our listeners.
Hmm.
I'm challenging everybody to walk for 15 minutes a day,
Yeah.
no matter what. I don't care if you're going around your kitchen island,
Hmm.
15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
I
Start
mean, I
small.
work out. I work out every day and I do that. It's still not the same as walking. It's
Yeah.
still not that same zen. And it'll, 15 minutes of walking only takes you 15 minutes. It's
Yeah.
weird, but that's the truth. That's the truth of it. 15 minutes
M-
takes you 15 minutes.
My therapist would always say the same thing too. And she would say, because I would tell her, well, I do go out, but I'm like running errands and stuff. And she said,
Mm,
but you need some time to just walk. And that's it. You're just walking for the sake of walking. And you've got your podcast on or your music or whatever you're doing or nothing at all. And you just walk and just set your timer and like just get that clear amount of time done. And you can run your errands afterwards. You can do whatever, plan your walk so that on the way back, you maybe grab a few things. But that's the piece that I always find challenging is like I try to be productive all the time. And so even if I was
mm.
going for a walk, I would tell myself,
You're doing something.
yeah, I'm always
You
just thinking I
can't
have,
do anything. This is the
yeah.
rule.
Hmm.
There's no doing anything. And I don't want you returning texts. I don't want you emailing anyone. And I don't want you being on the phone talking to someone.
Yep.
Please put your phone in your pocket. I will allow this song, a bit of music,
Yeah. Yeah.
but honestly, just don't even have words in your head. Just walk.
Yeah. Yeah, music is
It
nice. I like listening to some soul music or classical. Classical music will genuinely calm my brain down too.
mm,
Yeah.
these are all really good suggestions. And these are little simple things. And Caitlin and I and Sarah, we have to remind each other every week to bring this up. And I think we've been so excited about our guests that that would have been a great question to ask Josie Belka. And
Oh yeah.
we have another guest coming up at the end of this month,
Hmm.
Thordis Elva. I would have loved to have asked her what she did. She works a lot in gender equality and, you know, a lot with sexual
She was
assault.
so
And
great.
yeah,
Oh my
she really is
gosh.
amazing. She's coming up. Um, but yeah, it would have been great to ask her.
We'll
Maybe we'll
keep
have
in
her back
mind.
sometime.
Yeah, we should have her back too because I could just listen to her talk forever. But I think that, yeah, it's these are important little tidbits, and even just ask your friends, ask your coworkers. Like when we talk about so many things, where are you going to travel to this summer? What are you doing? What are you watching? It's a great thing to ask. Is kind of where are you getting your good feelings these days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love hearing what simple things people are doing. A friend of mine just went out and bought this sort of hard cardboard stock, and she said, "I've been thinking about this for 5 years."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "I went out and bought." She goes, "Every time I go look at cards, I'm like, this card does not say what I want it to say." So she's
Oh,
just at home, but she just sits, watches her show or whatever, has a glass of wine or tea, and she's using hilarious old family photographs. And she's just making copies of them. So she's not like
yeah.
using, and it's just like her aunt sitting around fucking like by a
Making a funny
soup
face
pot
or
with
yeah.
a beer and a cigarette standing looking down at the soup. And she's just making these hilarious cards, glue gun,
Yep.
a bit of goddamn glitter from Michael's or a craft store. So
Hmm.
they look good. And the font, she's got this thing where it's almost like taking a dime and
Hmm.
putting a font and scraping the letter onto the stock. So
Oh,
she's not
cool.
handwriting them, so they
Yeah.
look cool. And then she's got this spray stuff, and you crafty people can help me out. I don't know if it's lacquer or it's some kind of varnish that
Yep.
she takes it outside, obviously, and just sprays it so it looks so it won't come off. The
Oh,
pictures are
cool.
sealed in, and then she just gets these envelopes to go in. They are hilarious cards,
Well,
and
I'm
they
going to
all look
start
like they look like ransom notes.
I'm going to start coming up with my own cards because purchasing gift cards has started making me a crazy person because a blase card that says congratulations that's blank inside with a rainbow on it is 12 bucks here in Toronto. So,
I'm telling
I
you,
would
if you've got old family photos, Caitlin, or if you've got funny photos of Will, or if you've got something that you want to do, now I'm inspired to do it. I want to make goddamn cards.
well, yeah, because I feel like I'm funnier than half the greeting cards I read that are supposed to be humor, and I know my friends better. So I think I should just start. Everyone needs to bring back personalized greeting cards because I'm done paying $12 for a card that I honestly think is not that exciting at all.
Well, that's our tips for the day. God knows you've got many, many tips for today. Make sure you support Bruce Springsteen. Make sure, God knows Taylor Swift, she does need our support because she hardly
She
sells
needs our
any records
money.
anymore.
Yeah, she's broke.
And yeah, make sure you use your voice for good. Make sure
Hmm.
you express your opinion. It's not about being right. It's about expressing your opinion, right? So,
Yep,
anyway, thank you, Caitlin, for being here as always. Don't
my
forget to
pleasure.
tune into our Patreon, our extra content. You can join our Patreon anytime by going to the Jann Arden Patreon page. It's $5 a month,
Yeah.
or you can join our $7 a month, and it includes our book bag. And we have a big Zoom call every month, and everybody comes on, and we did talk about the book, and we give out prizes. We gave out an entire like 6 album vinyl set to Pam Detler
Hmm.
last couple weeks ago, and it's really cool. Universal Records stepped up and donated that, but there's lots of fun things,
We did a
and
$50 Indigo gift card. We might have more book stuff in the future.
mm,
You never know. And
it's
plus, you
really
get a
fun
whole
though.
Yeah, it is really fun. It's a nice way to connect with a really great community of fellow listeners. And also it's just I don't know, it's like it's $5 and it's a whole extra show every week. It's like you
Yeah,
get
it
this
really is
show and
fun.
then you get another show.
Yeah. You
So,
get this show and then we talk about more stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. You can subscribe to us, leave us a review, give us a star or two. It helps people find the podcast.
mhm.
And we appreciate you more than you know. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, here's Caitlin Green and me, Jann Arden, signing off. Toodly doo.